me see. Wait. There we go. There we go. I'm sorry you're gonna get glare from my glasses, but I need them to see because I don't wear contact lenses. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with something a little bit different today. Wow, the glasses glare is really annoying. I'm here with something a little bit different today. Don't worry, it's not like my story. I have a story, but it's not any kind of YouTube drama story. Basically, I wanted to jump on here and talk about money. Beginning of a new year, everybody's thinking about money, financial situations, what they want to do for the year, and kind of thinking long term. And I guess that always happens at this time of year. So I'm gonna reflect on the previous year and like what we would have done differently and blah blah blah. Because I feel like with social media, we get lost in the source. And I too have gotten, not lost in the source, but just like, oh my god, that person has this, that person has that, I want that, why can't I have that? And we don't know how they got that. My mum always used to say, don't be jealous of other people's stuff because you never know how they... John's making hot sauce. So we're going to deal with this. There's going to be this in the background. You never know how people acquire things, so don't covet what other people have. Don't look in other people's plate. But you know, it's natural. We're like, oh, that person with 5 million followers is like... I don't know what just happened. That person has 5 million followers and has... Oh, what is going on? Sorry if the light keeps changing. I'm using natural light and that's just what's going to happen in this video. I will say that now. It's natural to compare yourself, let me say, to other people's lifestyle, achievements, but facts is we don't know how somebody acquired that thing or how they got that house. And so let's not look at that and think, oh, what about me? Let's stay in our own lane, essentially, and keep our head focused on what we want for ourselves and try to plan or figure out a way how we can acquire those things for ourselves. Example, I'm 32 years old. I don't own a house. I don't have a car, but that's out of choice. And this, I don't need a car. I don't have children because right now I don't want any. And so everything that I've earned since the day I started working has been mine, my money. And you know what I did with it? I spent every dime, every single penny, whether it is on saving up to buy something, a pair of shoes, a bag, whether it going on holiday. I did so much traveling in my 20s, which I don't regret at all. I'll talk a bit about my my journey to this point, let's say. Pardon if I keep looking this way because I have my computer here and I've made notes, because you know what, we're doing things properly in 2019. I'm 32 years old and I work in fashion wholesale, and I've done a bit of marketing in the past, and my relationship with money is astonishing. As a kid, I never had pocket money, but I would be given money to spend on things that I need. So if I wanted to go on a school trip, I would be given the money to pay for the trip and money to use while I was on the trip. Wanted to go to after school club and it cost, I would be given the money to do that. Birthdays, Christmas, I would save up and like buy something I wanted. When I was really young, my mum would put it into a savings account that she had for me, which kind of nicely ticked over. I never had any real concept of if I regularly save this in a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, I would be able to afford this. I wasn't given everything I wanted. Occasionally I did get a branded pair of trainers for Christmas or a birthday, but I wouldn't just get a pair of trainers like without a good reason. My mum bought all of my clothes until I was about 12. By that point I would wear her clothes. Then at about 13, if there was a piece of clothing that I liked, I would have to wait till Christmas or birthday to either get the money to buy it or put towards it, or get the clothing or pair of trainers itself for that birthday or Christmas. So I had no real kind of concept of like, I did, but I also didn't. I had like a couple Saturday hours. I didn't really babysit because I kind of grew up with my cousins, and so we were always like with each other until we were old enough to be alone. But I didn't work until I was about 18 or 19. And that was my first real job. When I left high school, I took a gap year because I wanted to work between high school and university and get just some world experience. I didn't travel, I didn't go on a gap year, no shade. But yeah, I just basically worked, and the money that I had for the time and my age was quite a lot. I would have money left over at the end of the month, I remember times when I would go and get my nails done and then go like 10 days later instead of 2 weeks or 3 weeks later because I could. And they would be like, oh, but you don't need infill. So I'm like, yeah, just do it anyway. That was like my first forage into earning money. Then I went to university, and this is where I realized like how much money it costs to do anything. I still stayed at home though, I will say that. So I wasn't paying rent, I didn't have student loan, I didn't have credit cards. My parents kindly paid my fees, and I paid for everything else with the money that I earned from working. So I went from full-time to part-time, and either side of my lectures I would work. So if I had afternoon lectures, I would work in the morning, and if I had morning lectures, I'd work in the afternoon. I didn't work at the weekend. I went from having money left over to seeing that dwindle when I had to pay for my travel, for my books, for food while I was at university. All those little things. I'll keep saying this, I stayed at home. So my overheads weren't huge, but when you go from working full-time to being forced to only be able to work a certain amount of hours and your income is forcibly reduced, I was just like, what the hell, this sucks. I want to drop out of uni and work full-time. I didn't drop out of uni, I finished university. So after the first, I left that job. I literally was filing at MTV in Camden just to get some money. They were being audited and they needed help getting stuff together. I can't even remember who put me onto that, but it was a friend, and that's what I did either side of my lectures. After that work dried up, I then went to work at Tony and Guy part-time on reception, either side of my lectures. So I went from like earning a decent amount of money in my first job per hour, even then with my reduced hours, still earning a decent amount of money, to then pretty much a minimum wage job running a salon part-time. Around this time, just to give context, I was in a relationship. Yeah, we did go on holidays, but they weren't crazy expensive or super far away or extravagant. This is when I was traveling the most to Belgium for literally 24 hours in a coach with my friends, and that would cost me £30 to do that, or in a van. We'd all chip in for the van, chip in for petrol, and we would go to Belgium. At this point in my life, I was sick constantly because I never stayed home. I was always out at gigs with my then boyfriend or traveling around somewhere. Like, we'd hop in the van after work on a Friday and drive to Glasgow overnight. They would play a show and then we would drive back. That's what I was doing in my early 20s. All the while being at university, submitting essays, dissertations. Like, honestly, I did the most. So post-uni, I'm living at home still. I'm contributing to bills, I'm paying my way, I'm paying for my own stuff, paying my own travel, buying my own clothes. My spending habits were insane. I would get paid and go to Primark, to H&M. I would spend so much money on shit, and I don't have any of it. I'd buy a new pair of trainers every month. H2O would be playing a show and I'd be like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna spend £700 on a flight to New York to go and watch H2O for the nth time. Do you know how many times I've seen H2O? Now, hey, I enjoyed myself, I made good friends, I saw the world, and if it wasn't for that time in my life, I wouldn't have a lot of the friendships and relationships that I have now. But I spent so much money. So I got a job after I left university doing admin for a media agency, and that was when I kind of got back on track in terms of salary. I was full-time, so I had annual leave. It was also the time that I got my first credit card. Around the same time, I got a reward account. So a reward account is like where you get perks. So you pay a monthly fee to have the bank account, and you get things like travel insurance, phone insurance, house insurance, car insurance, maybe not car insurance actually, but all these different perks that I didn't even really take advantage of. Maybe the travel insurance and the phone insurance actually. I was doing all this, doing the most, spending a lot of money. Then I got made redundant. This was the first time I got made redundant. But it was okay because I was living at home. There was a process, so I got a lump sum for redundancy. I saved half, and the other half I used to book a flight to New York. And then I went to New York for like 3 weeks over Christmas. And you know what I did there? I spent that money. I spent the money. And this was a pivotal point in my life career trajectory. So up to this point, I'd done whatever it took to get paid. After this point, I was like, wait, actually, I don't care about pictures. I don't care about pictures of like Britney Spears shaving her head in the street. I don't. And I don't want to do admin forever. So I looked into fashion, and that's where I got my first fashion internship. So I came back to London. I'm still living at home, but I'm a 25-year-old intern. that's unpaid. I've gone from being paid in the low 20,000s a year to nothing. Only having my travel paid for because my travel was quite expensive and they didn't have the budget to pay for my lunch as well. So the rest of that redundancy money saw me through 3 months of being an intern full time and paying for whatever I needed, whatever I wanted to do. It came out of the remainder, the other half of the redundancy lump sum that I received. So I did that for 3 months full time. Then I was like, hold up, I need to start earning money, but I want to stay in this industry. And that's when I started working part-time in a store. But I also wanted to like really make a difference and really kind of show my abilities, my skills, my eagerness to like be a part of the company. So I refused, basically I refused to leave my internship. So they didn't pay me anything at this point, but I was working 6 days a week. It started off part-time in the store and then the other half in the showroom, and then eventually I went to like full-time 5 days a week in the store, and then whatever days I had free, if it was in the middle of the week, I would go to the showroom and just make myself indisposable to the showroom. It got to a point where I couldn't do that anymore. They didn't need me anymore. They had an intern. It was fine. So it naturally progressed that way. Sorry if this is really boring, but I just really want to talk about how my finances got to where they are. So now at this point, I've spent my redundancy lump sum. I'm earning full-time retail salary, which isn't a lot of money, but I'm having fun. I had so much fun. It was one of the best summers ever. Made tons of new friends. I was occasionally going to the US at this point, but I'm still living at home, but I just didn't have the like freedom or liberty, I guess, to casually spend the bulk of my next paycheck on a flight because my travel was expensive. I'm still contributing at home. During that time, I still had a credit card. I was still paying for the reward account. So the reward account came with an overdraft. I ended up closing that account with like a £500 overdraft that I was paying off incrementally, like really small amounts, but I was chipping away at it constantly just to get it done with, and eventually paid that off. The credit card, so rewind to 2010, I had gone on holiday and I was like, we'll use the credit card for a car and the accommodation and we'll just pay it off within like 2 or 3 months. This is me and my ex-partner. That was the plan, but we broke up and he never paid his half. It happens. I didn't ask him for the money back. Maybe I should have asked. I don't know. But he never paid it back, which is fine because I was still able to pay small amounts and still live comfortably. I'm actually about to just finish paying for that. So that's nearly 10 years. And basically everything that I owe now, or everything that I'm paying now, is just stupid interest that I could have paid off however many years ago. We're not going to talk about how stupid that is. It is what it is, and I've made peace with it, and it's almost paid off, so it's almost done. So I paid off the overdraft. I'm about to pay off the credit card. For the majority of my 20s, I basically just spent so much money. And it was in my later 20s where I started to make a decent amount of money, so I moved out. Then my overheads changed. Things got very real. I moved out, all of my rent and bills were paid, and I started looking at budgeting and finance. Like, I don't want to owe this credit card anymore. I'm chipping away and I'm paying like more than the minimum every month, but it's still over my head and I just want it done with. I was working on a budget that lists out your essentials, so your rent and your bills that you have to pay every month. Then list out what you owe. So that would be any credit cards, any savings, any loan payments. I don't have a loan apart from the credit, but yeah, any kind of obligations that you have, and then any other bills, so Netflix, like everything. So that's how I kept track of what I was paying every month, and I would have it on an Excel sheet. I would have everything totaled, and then I would have my incoming and my outgoing. This budget that I was using allowed you to basically list out, pay everything, including yourself, in the savings, and then just enjoy what was left over. So I was putting money in this savings, but then still overspending. So every month, the £200 saving that I was putting away was just like a cushion that after the first 2 weeks, because generally, let's say we have 2 weeks where we really live life, and then for the other 2 weeks of the month, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's not bleak, but you're just like, oh shit, I shouldn't have spent. That cushion I was using on those last 2 weeks of the month. So I wasn't saving anything. In my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm saving, I'm putting money away. I'm not doing anything. I'm eating the money. I'm going to Dishoom, I'm going to Chiconi's, I'm going to Wagamama, I'm going to Nando's, I'm doing this, that and the other. I'm f***ing around. I'm playing too many games. too many games. That's about the time when my taste also changed. So I wasn't going to, I mean, I stopped shopping on the high street, not altogether, but pretty much. Like, no more Primark. We're not doing like £70 in Primark. What can, no disrespect if you do shop in Primark, I'm just saying, I don't know what I was spending that much money on in my early 20s from Primark. My taste started to change. It was more expensive. I was looking at more contemporary brands. Luxury was still a bit here, like still a bit, not unattainable, but still kind of out of reach, but I could afford £200 to £400 on a pair of boots. So I have this cushion and I'm like, oh, but I really love the boots. Yeah, I should enjoy my money, I work hard. Okay, I'll put that with this and buy that. But I had a list of all the things that I wanted. The Gucci loafers, the Acne boots, these sunglasses, that bag. I had it on an Excel sheet. It was totaled the value. And I just wouldn't look at that. I would be like, right, first thing I'm going to buy is going to be this. Second thing I'm going to buy is that. I wasn't thinking beyond the end of my nose. I was thinking, I like these things, which is fine if you like things. It's great. Material things do make us happy. It was very short-term thinking is what I'm trying to say. So I decided to sack off the wish list because it was very toxic for me. But I didn't become obsessed, but I was just like, oh no, another month's gone by and I still haven't been able to buy this. And that's dumb. Like, it's like so stupid. Why was I even thinking? I should have been thinking, oh no, another month's gone by and I've eaten all my money. Because that's what I was doing. Literally eating money. In my 30s, after working full-time in the store, moving up to wholesale, earning more money, moving out, my taste changing, I then got made redundant again. Kind of suddenly, but it was fine. To be honest, it needed to happen. Like, it was amicable. But I was like, shit, how am I going to pay my bills? That's when I really started kind of like delving into freelancing. So I got a bit of work and that enabled me to pay my rent, pay my bills, live a little bit, like be comfortable until I secured another job. I secured another job. It was a way junior role to what I was used to, but it was in a different kind of fashion environment. So I was like, yeah, why not? Might lead to more opportunities, but it didn't. It did give me a different experience. But after maybe 7 months, I was like, this is not for me. This is not what I want to do. This is not, I'm not on the right path. I need to get back on the path. I left there, got another job. Again, in fashion wholesale, I took out another credit card, which at that point, I owed £300. And I was just like, oh, it's fine. I'm in a position now where I can pay for these things. Got made redundant within 3 months. Third redundancy. Third time not having any kind of contingency plan in place. None whatsoever. We are freewheeling here. Like, we're just freewheeling. We're like, shit, right, okay, time to get paid. We need to get the hustle on. I bought some stupidly crazy boots. I bought a bag. Listen, I was sweating. When I tell you I was sweating, I was like, John, I need to figure this shit out. Like, I have work to do. The stress. When I tell you the stress, I was stressed. Going for interviews, going for meetings, talking to people, things falling through. And then finally I got a freelance gig to go to Paris at end of September. I was like, oh my God, this will then carry me through to the next opportunity, which I then secured while I was in Paris. And that's where I've been ever since. It's been great. But I just wanted to share kind of the history of like my career. I'm sorry if this is jumping all over the place and I really hope you can follow it. I wanted to share my relationship with money since having my own money that I earned myself. Somehow a girl called Asia Dan came up on my YouTube suggestions. I don't know if you follow her. Her videos are really cool. She's very matter of fact. She's very relatable. But she had hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt from student loans, from credit cards, and she is aggressively tackling her debt. That really inspired me to just get my together, because who has time? Honestly, what I owe it, I don't see as a huge terrifying figure, but I still need to handle it. And so I hope in sharing this that I inspire someone else to handle it. It's tough, but I'm sure in the long run we will see the benefits. So the only thing that I would be getting if I choose to retire at the legal age of retirement is my state pension. No, that's not what we're doing. We're building a contingency plan here, my people. Listen, whether you want to just secure the bag and live your life well, whether you just straight out want peas, we're handling it in 2019. I came up with a budget that allows me to allocate my money So at the end of every month, my money is allocated to a specific budget for what I earn compared to what I owe. I'm just like, just pay this, pay it. Why are you in Chiconies? This doesn't need to be here. Chiconies can wait. Chiconies will be there. The blue cheese gnocchi will be there. Handle your get it together. So this is what we're doing. I want to pay off everything that I owe by the 30th of June 2019. The total of my debt is about £2,300. Some people, that's their monthly salary. For some people, that's a lot of money. For me, I can handle that amount. I didn't want to just be like, right, I'm going to pay my debt off by June. I wanted to write out in bullet points how I'm going to achieve that. At the end of January, I'm going to pay £450 across all of my creditors. And then between February and June 30th, so February 28th and June 30th, I will then pay between £350 and £380, and my debt will incrementally decrease. I've given myself a decent amount of time, but not a year, because it would just be another year, and I'll be sat here in 2020 being like, oh well, you know, Chiconies was calling me, so I went for the blue cheese. No, 6 months, we're doing it, because we can. I can do that. So within my budget, these figures all fit and will still enable me to enjoy my life. Second thing is to save an emergency fund. Chiconies is not an emergency. As much as I love the gnocchi, it's not an emergency. I'm not gonna dip into that money because I feel like going out. I'm gonna save £250 each month for an emergency fund between January 30th and April 30th. The third thing, after all the debts are paid, I want to double my emergency fund by December 31st and put money aside for a treat. A treat would be a pair of boots or shoes or trainers or a bag. Whatever I decide that I really want, once the cushion is in place, that's what I'll treat myself to. I don't want to kind of get distracted by the price of something that I would have on my wish list. I just want to focus on what I want as a cushion, and then if there's any residual, I can put that towards a treat. So that's the third thing. We're paying off debt, we're saving an emergency fund, we're doubling the emergency fund, and buying a treat. And that is by the end of the year. The fourth thing, residual income. I have one job. In the past, I've consulted for brands, for friends, for projects, for stores. I've created content, I've directed photo shoots. All of those things, at some point or another, have enabled me to earn money on top of my salary. So I want to look at additional revenue streams. YouTube, I have my AdSense on. I don't have 4,000 subscribers yet, or whatever the number is, so I can't actually earn money. The YouTube changed the regulations, so I don't earn money from YouTube yet, but I would like to in the future. I would also like to earn additional income from working with brands, working with other people on other projects, consulting, and what have you. Those are things that already kind of are in place for me. It's just now turning that into a revenue stream and being paid for what I'm doing, basically, because I do all that kind of stuff for fun, but obviously it's great when you can turn your hobby into a career or additional income. Any additional money that I get from those things, I would like to put towards a holiday with John. We want to go on holiday this year, because you know what, we work hard for the money. Here is where I would say, okay, I want to go on holiday and I don't mind spending this much on accommodation because I really want to stay somewhere nice and not struggle. However, if we don't have Four Seasons money, why are you even looking at Four Seasons? That's not how we're rolling in 2019. Also, the fifth thing, John is 40 this year, and I would like to be able to either buy him a gift or an experience that he would love. I hope for his that makes sense. I feel like I jumped around quite a lot, but I really just wanted to be transparent about this, because I feel like I know I'm not the only person that sits here scrolling through my phone like, oh my god, the new sneakers. I don't want to be having that mindset anymore, and I want to be accountable for it, which is why I'm sharing here. I also feel like, hey, you know, we're all in this together, sis. We can't eat shoes forever, man. The Tabis look good, but they're not going to pay my bills, so we're getting it together in 2019. Leave any questions below, any ideas. I will also leave some links to things that I've really enjoyed or that have inspired me or that have given me good ideas. I will for sure leave a link to Asia's videos. Honestly, when I say they're so helpful, she really put herself out there in sharing the amount of debt that she had and how she's gonna tackle this month on month, and it really changed, it like clicked something in my head where I was like, no, we have to deal with this practically, because we're just gonna be paying it off month. Like, what the hell? Listen, the credit card debt is on, the first credit card debt is almost 10 years old. It's not even a big amount of money. Like, why am I just giving the bank money that they don't need? All they need is what I put in there. That's all that they need, and that's mine. They don't need my extra whatever amount. No, 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 All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I will check in with you. Maybe I want to make another video on like career trajectory, how I got to where I am in my career, what I want further along in the future, because again, I get a lot of questions about what I do, and I really want to help people and inspire people to just do the thing that they feel that they're called to do. I don't know why I'm doing this like I'm Tony Soprano. See you in the next one. Bye.